That's all y'all get. You already know. You already know. Welcome to another episode of the Mad Lucrative Podcast, Lucrative Lounge Edition. Huh? All right, so I'm the host, Magneto7. Y'all already know me. Y'all already know me. I'm about to introduce y'all to a playmaker. Listen, every time I bring somebody to y'all, y'all already know what type of vibe it's about to be. So I got the one, the only, Two Lewis in the building, man.
What do you do, man? What's happening, bro?
What's good, bro? How you feeling?
Man, good, bro. Blessed, man. Thank you, man, for taking your time out.
Man, hey, listen. So I got introduced to you low key by accident. Right? So Tracee, she reached out to me. She was like, yo, you know, she from New York, so yo, you know Two Lewis? I'm like, I don't know who Two Lewis is. Like, you need to know who he is. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, shoot me something and I'm gonna find out who he is. So, bruh, I read through all the work that you're doing, and I was like, yeah, we gotta have him on the pod. Like, yeah, hands down, we gotta have you on. So,
man, I appreciate that, bro. I wanted to do it in person, man. I was really like, man, I got like after I had went through all your stuff and you told me about it, man. I was like, man, he been in the industry as long as I've been. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, like I definitely want to honor him too. You know what I mean? I wanted to do it in person, but you know, me being in New York right now, so.
Hey, bro, look, when you come to the A, when you come back down here, we gonna go to Roof Chris or something, have some wine or dinner, and record some of them joints, and it's gonna be another exclusive like Ross and EYL.
Alright, say no more.
Let's do it. Yeah, we'll do something in person. I'm cool with that.
Alright.
But you say you in NY right now, right?
Yeah, I'm up here.
Okay.
Up in the city. I've been staying up here since 2017.
Okay. So you from where originally?
East Atlanta, Zone 6.
Oh.
That's my hood.
Okay. I ain't know that.
Yeah.
So that explains a lot there, right? It explains a lot. So tell me about who Two Lewis was, and we're gonna talk about that name too. You already knew it was gonna come. So
Gotcha.
So how was growing up in the A for you? I'm gonna say 13 to 20. That's a big span.
That was lit time for me because by the time I was 13 in Atlanta, like I was driving at 13, you know what I mean? So my best friend Kusa, his mom was, she was a sergeant. And because she worked so far, she told him like, look, every day you got to take me to school. You got to take her to work. And then he could drive to school just so he goes to school in the neighborhood. Okay. And so he taught me how to drive. You know what I mean?
At 13.
So at 13. And so at 13, I was already in high school. Okay. So I was in high school at that time. So I went to high school at 12. So I went to high school at 12. I was turning 13 though. So our high school went from 8th grade to 12th grade.
Oh, okay.
So it was a different situation than most people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it wasn't
that wasn't like that in Carolina. That wasn't
right. You know what I mean? So it was like it was only like a few schools like that. But in my zone, that's what it was. So at that time, 13, you know what I mean, I was heavy into sports.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think I was like in the paper every week, you know what I mean, playing sports. I was heavy into skating. Okay. You know what I mean? I was heavy into skating, had my whole little skate crew, you know what I mean? So that was like really big. And then by the time we were about, I think at 14, 15, that's when the transition happened to do music.
Okay.
So like 13, 14, I think we were still like doing dance crews, and we used to dance and like win all the talent shows around the city and stuff like that. So we were real popular kid, my whole little crew.
Okay.
And it turned from like a dance crew into like rapping. You know what I mean? So that's how the whole crew, like one day, shout out to Ra Young Capone. So that's my cousin. And one day he was like, look, we can't be dancing no more. We about to rap. And I was like, we gonna rap? He was like, yeah. He was like, we rap. it ain't no dancing rappers out here. There ain't no dancing rappers, bro.
So I was about to ask that. I got it. So when the street niggas like everybody was skate? So ATL, how ATL was?
ATL was damn so rich.
That's crazy.
You had to be popping on skate to be popping at the school. You see what I'm saying? Like if you was a nigga that was in the crew and y'all was smooth and cool on the skate, then you get off and y'all get the rumbling, cooking. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like y'all handle y'all own. You going back to school, all the girls want you anyway.
From skating. What I mean?
Skating.
That's crazy.
Skating. What they say, you can tell a man about the way he skate.
I can't skate at all, so I just took the L, like straight L.
So yeah, man, that's how it was, man. And it ended up turning into a rap crew called MPG, okay. and Money Power Gangsters. And so we used to be about, man, everywhere we went, we about 100 deep everywhere we went. You know what I mean? So like being young nigga, we like kind of formatted like a whole movement of a system. And just so happened, we did a talent show. It was with my partner T-Rock, them, Brick Roll, and all them. Did a talent show, and we ended up winning the talent show. Greg Street wanted to sign Rah Young Capone off rip, like as soon as we got done. And so we were like, damn, that's cool, but maybe we shouldn't move too fast. You know what I mean? So like, truthfully, I was probably the worst rapper in the group. You know what I mean?
But I own it.
Oh yeah, I was the worst rapper in the group, but I was the most popular kid though. I was the most popular kid. I wasn't a rapper though. I didn't grow up on rapping like that too much. You know what I mean? So for me, I was just like, it was foreign. You know what I mean? So I wasn't the best rapper, but I was like, look, shit, I'ma just handle the business.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna just go in here and handle the business. I don't even know this business, but I'm gonna go handle it. I'm gonna try to learn. And so call the guy who put us on to like the promotion because we were throwing parties. So call him because he knew business and told him to come down to the meetings with us. And then we just started picking up traction. Nitty, shout out to Nitty Beats.
Yeah, Nitty Beats.
Nitty ended up knowing somebody who I think he was dating a girl who was dating like one of the girls we talked to or some kind of little connection. He was like, who these young niggas? Uh-huh. And the girl, that's my partner now. So ended up setting up the meeting. Nitty took us to JD. And yeah, man, got signed that deal. We signed that deal when we were 16 years old.
Dang.
Oh yeah, so we signed.
This is way after Criss Cross.
Yeah, this way after Criss Cross. It was crazy because Rah ended up being, Young Capone at the time, he ended up being the only artist JD ever signed from Atlanta. The only solo rapper.
Oh yeah, because Brad from Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Bow Wow from Ohio, you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, Brad from Chicago. Bow Wow from Ohio. Like everybody from somewhere else that was a rapper. And so he was the first one. And we had this whole plan, rollout plan, everything going good. And then it's crazy enough, the music changed. So what happened was right before we finna do the real push rollout, we did y'all remember Access Granted.
I remember that.
We had Access Granted done, like everything. Nigga, Snap Music came out. And that shit, even though it was cool, like my cousin Parlay, one of the franchise boys, like it was cool because JD had a deal. It was just that Virgin at the time. It was either Virgin or Out of Def Jam.
I was about to say Def Jam, but
it could have been Out of Def Jam first because we ended up being on both labels. And it was Virgin at the time. And so franchise ended up getting signed to Virgin. And then JD was the president of Urban. And so he ended up doing the deal. Like, he never really signed them, but he did like kind of a deal with, like, kind of put it with So Def and pushed them.
Right. And
then so everything went to the lean with it. White tee. So that pushed Rah back because that's what's down.
So
So we never.
what sound was it that he had at the time?
He had like a young. It was like a little young gutter. You know what I mean? He was kind of like a young little gutter, like kind of cool school, like little, like talking about more so like nigga, we'll beat your ass,
Okay.
and you know what I mean, kind of like what a Scrappy was, but not as crunk, more smooth, like,
Okay.
more smooth, like on a like a Bun B type. You know what I mean? You know,
Okay.
great, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it was just bad timing to be at the label. So end up going through all that, and then about a few years later, he ended up asking to leave. Like, because he was just, you get tired of waiting on label, you know what I mean?
Right.
Hot, you know what I mean? Your song was on, one of the songs hit Billboard, you know what I mean? Like, how he like, man, I could do more, but he knew it the bad. But for me, I was like, I'm working. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had went to school, and I'm like interning with JD them. I'm like going on the road with them. So my path, even though we were still together, my path was still like, let me figure out the business, because I still didn't know nothing about the music business like that.
Okay.
And so I was still like interning and going on the road with different artists and doing the screen tours. And my knowledge was growing a lot faster. And when he wanted to lead the label, I was kind of torn, because I was like, shit, I'm working right now. You know what I mean? I'm working now. Like, I'm finally working my mojo.
Right.
So I ended up staying and working for a little bit longer.
I was about to say, did you stay or did you ride
Yeah,
out?
I stayed.
Right.
I stayed a little bit longer, a few more years, and kept doing like street team, and then doing like A&R work, and then that took me. So that was really kind of like my little span from that 13 to 18. Like, we was already on the road tours. I was in college, you know what I mean? Like, I was in Tallahassee being a label rep, you know what I mean? So, my time from 13 to 18 was lit.
I think it's cool because I think I've heard Tip say it plenty of times, but when people from up top see people from Georgia, they be like, "Oh, nah, that's country."
Right.
And if you parallel the childhoods, it's like, yo, it's the exact same joint. It's just in a different region.
Different region, different slang. You know what I mean? They got projects that was up. You know what I mean? Like, my first project was Perry Home. You know what I mean? Which was like the biggest projects in the United States. You know what I mean? But like, compared to New York, they built up. So you got a lot of buildings up. I was wide. You know what I mean? Like, all of the land, you know what I mean? So it's just so crazy that, they be thinking like, I mean, New York was known for being hard.
Yeah.
Because they were the first time you could see Black people on TV depicted like that. So that was the depiction, you know what I mean, of what it was. So they rolled with that, you know what I mean? So New York was known for being hard from their first vision of like being on TVs and things like that. They was cool. They was the first one, because down south we didn't really have no representation like that at the time. You know what I mean? We ain't had no reps on TV like that. No. So you couldn't see the flow of the swag. So down south, it was more so dancing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was dancing, 69 Boys, Kilo. Like, it was more like fast beat. Like, dance. Like, we wanted the girls down south.
Right.
Uncle Luke and stuff like that. That was our stage. So, it was just a different mode from there. You know what I mean? But then it kind of transitioned when, really when Cash Money came out, it transitioned.
Okay. It transitioned for Atlanta?
No, for the South.
Okay.
That was the first time in the South that you got to see like some niggas like really kind of doing a little gangster, you know what I mean? Right. From Cash Money No Limit, you know what I mean? That New Orleans, that was the first time you got to see like, oh, these niggas in the South kind of start. And then the New Orleans was the murder capital at the time too.
Yeah.
So it kind of started like, oh, these niggas hard. Yeah. I think that kind of transitioned to like Atlanta to be like, hold on, like we started doing crunk music. You know what I'm saying? So you had like Pastor Troy and
Oh
Archie.
boy, I was a bad football player when Pastor Troy came out, but that's that's all they played in the locker room.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
all you play getting ready, bro. Like
yeah.
that's all you literally play. So, you know what I mean? Like getting ready, like that's all it was. You know what I mean? So, like that's when it would start to be crunk. You know what I mean? I think that was a transition. Then Snap happened.
Okay.
Snap happened right when crunk was taking off. Snap was starting too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in our city, really the first two young kids who had deals was Young Capone and Lil Scrappy. You know what I mean? And they kind of got signed at the same parallel time. It's just that Young Capone's sound was.
I'm about to say, because I don't remember him.
Yeah, because it wasn't. He was more on. He was rapping. He was like a Bun B, MJ. You know what I mean? He was that kind of MJ, 8 Ball. Yeah. So he was like he was flowing. It was a bad time for a floor. You know what I mean? Because of crunk music taking off and then music taking off. And so he got caught in that whirlwind of the mix where, you know, it's just bad timing for you. You know what I mean? But talent wise, you know what I mean? He probably, like, you could ask like Lil Duval. Lil Duval would be like, bro, he's probably the best rap, like the best artist probably came out. But he never could get that full thing because he's probably the most talented artist because he could do everything from shooting a video to doing the artwork to doing to make the beat. Like he made the intro for Meek Mill on Meek Mill. Like he produced too. You see what I'm saying? He produced as well as direct the photo shoot, direct the shit. So he did so much. It's like he's so talented, but sometimes I be telling people when you too talented and you do too much, when stuff don't work, boy, that shit kill you too. Nowhere to point the fingers at, nowhere to get better. No, you know what I mean? Like it's a tough world.
Tell me this: would you say, because I'm doing my timelines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say when Tip dropped, that kind of faded some of that buzz out, or was he already kind of fade out before Tip came?
Well, I would say when Tip definitely dropped, it definitely faded more of that buzz out. It was just like look, Tip, because Tip was that. He was a young Tip. You see what I'm saying? He was. If you look at the video with him and Tip, because Tip later on signed him.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah. So if you look at he did a lot. He produced for Tip. Like so when you see all the Grand Hustle stuff they did in the last couple of years, he wrote most of that stuff. He produced most of that stuff. You see what I'm saying? He was a young Tip, but the thing about it, he wasn't really Tip was older. So Tip could talk about I'm selling drugs. I'm doing this. He was younger. He's like, I'm beating kids up. We throwing parties. The topics, you know what I mean, was different. Gotcha. The flow was the same, but the topics was gonna hit different. You know what I mean? Topics were gonna hit different.
Okay.
So that's really what it was. You know what I mean? He didn't have that. He didn't have them topics yet because he didn't live enough life. You're still young.
You still young. So.
Still young.
Okay, so I put a pin in one of the points that you made, right?
Because
I know I might say a little bit about mine, but I don't know. So, I ain't creating no ops. but when you started to transition from, I'm gonna say, when you transition from artist to the executive's position, and you had those friends that was kind of in the space of, you know, well, bruh, you ain't gonna ride with us. Like, how did you deal with that back and forth?
I think for me it was like at the time it wasn't a lot of social media at the time. It wasn't no social media at the time either. Like it was MySpace only. You see what I'm saying? Like that was the only shit. And that's really how I got in because I started making like JD told me one day, he was like, if you want to be in the room, you got to deserve to be in the room. You got to add value to the room to get in. And so I started trying to figure out how to add value. So I started taking pictures. Because it was never no cameraman around. And so I started taking pictures. Then I started building their MySpaces, like doing their walls, doing their top eights. And so then the artists started emailing me, and I started getting their numbers, and I started becoming cool with them. And so, like, even to this day, like, Jaquan had one of the biggest songs ever, Tipsy. And, like, I wasn't nobody, but I did all his MySpace, all this stuff. And to this day, he like, little bro, can you do this? You know what I mean? Like, now when I came up, he like, bro, can you get me a, distribution deal? Can you know what I mean? Like, it's just treating people nicely. But I think because in our time, everything was moving, we still moved as a unit, even though everybody was doing different things. Okay. I got to be working from Tallahassee because I was in school. So I wasn't around every day anyway. So we didn't really have that. We didn't really have no beef or no shit like that. Because anytime they had to come to Tallahassee, I had to be there to host them around and all that stuff. So it was like I came, played my part, and then dip out. Okay. You know what I mean? So I don't think nothing ever really kind of separated like our beef and like made no beef. Okay. You know what I mean? And we started growing so rapidly. Like, I wish I was more in the executive space. Okay. Because I was learning so much, I was kind of scared to like take control of an artist like all the way because I'm like, I'm gonna fuck these niggas up. Just being honest, like I'm gonna fuck them up.
Like, but what made you feel like that though?
Because I didn't know enough. Okay. You see what I'm saying? I didn't know enough. Like I didn't know. We had nobody to teach us. You know what I'm saying? We ain't had no mentor. Like my first mentor was Skeeter Rock, who was JD's right hand man. He was like the executive producer for everything JD did. You know, he was the first one that I was starting to learn from. Him and Nitty. You know what I mean? They were the first ones that I learned from. But it was like you got to play catch up because they moving. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
you learn in real time.
Yeah, real time, and you work. You know what I mean? So you just got to pick up the jewels, and but we had the opportunity. Like we had Bankroll Fresh. You know what I mean? That I later managed. We had like Tracee T. You know what I mean?
Tracee T.
Tracee T, who was signed to Rick Ross. He was signed to Maybach Music. He's I don't want to get his girlfriend name wrong. Okay. He just had a baby, but she really famous too. Okay. Famous female rapper. And we had like Tracee T. We had like Montana the Mac, and all these people had like got deals. You know what I mean? Everybody naming got deals. Like Mike the Rockman, who's a producer. We had YC, young Chris, Racks on Racks. Like even Future used to come to the house like all the time after school. Okay. Like because we were the first ones with a deal. You see what I'm saying? And so everybody on the east side, from my side of town, came to us. You know what I mean? Like because we were the first ones. Okay. And so you got to see the formula. You know what I mean? Even Young LA. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, hey, let's see how we can work it out. But if I knew what I knew then, we would just all been on one label. We would have mashed the gas. Mm-hmm. You know, I just didn't know how to keep everybody happy, and satisfied with the main artist, like who got the deal, needed the attention.
So okay, in that space, right? With keeping the people happy. Would you say? Because I'm thinking about how a lot of people say I'm like a Martin Luther King, right? And wherever I go, whatever space I'm in, I do a decent job of getting people to see the overall goal. And it's like, okay, we got to do this, and money kind of gets brought up on the back end because everybody's geared towards making the dream happen. Right. So, like my new thing now, I'm like, I gotta see it. My aim is Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey, and a few other people, but like that tier of
Right.
representation for one,
Mm-hmm.
and offering jobs and
Right.
being fly, like doing the shit fresh as possible, and
Right.
making it look dope.
Yeah.
So I do a decent job of doing that, but I do know I pay attention. People need need money here and there. So I'm like, all right, what you need, whatever. But I got an issue with giving people stuff, like
Mm.
just giving it, cause when I was coming up, ain't nobody give me nothing, and that
Right.
don't mean I want them to struggle,
Right.
but know the value in what it is that you getting.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
I definitely understand. I think from my perspective, I didn't learn like you probably learned that faster
Okay.
because nobody really gave me nothing, but I did get a lot of opportunities because I was like such a well-respected young kid. You know what I mean? From even my teachers, from my coaches, from anybody you put me in a situation, like they showed me some kind of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always presented as a giver. You know what I mean? So I gave a lot. You know what I mean? Like I put my like I always knew like I could do whatever I wanted.
Right.
But I also knew my friends didn't see the same thing. Like they didn't see it in themselves. Like
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I saw it in myself because my mama told me so much.
Mm.
So I knew like you a special kid. Like you could do whatever. She told me that a lot.
Right.
So it was good in my head. But my friends, I knew they were special, but they couldn't really see it. And so I was trying to put all my energy behind them so they can get to their goals because
Right.
I knew like at any time I can go finish college and go get a good ass job, whatever, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? I knew them like these niggas gonna drop out of school. I already knew like
Yeah.
dropping out of school, they finna go rap full time.
Mm-hmm.
We this the path. So I gotta put the battery behind them so they be
Set.
okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I was more of a, like in a giving mode. And I wish I knew more about like even though I was the leader of my crew, once I didn't want to be it. And so I shied away from like trying to always lead. You see what I'm saying?
We're a lot
Like
of light. We're a lot of light, bro.
I'd rather try to lead by action and not by talking all this stuff. And so like when Rara, when he got the deal, he became the leader primarily because he's the one signed now. And I was like, yes, thank God.
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
Everybody gonna follow him, not knowing he's still following me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I knew more, it could have been a little more vocal then. We probably could have got a lot of more business, a lot of more deals done at that age. But we learn on the fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's cool though. I think it's cool because I'm like you in that aspect. Like my start was with a hip hop group.
Right.
And I say shouts out to the internationals. I've been real stingy with not shouting out people, but the way things kind of dismantle, how you don't talk to one, but you do talk to the other, it's that type of stuff. But anyway, when that happened, we would come back and forth from Carolina to Atlanta because this, 5-hour drive, ain't nothing back and forth.
Right.
And I remember we went to what was Dallas Austin's label?
Oh,
I think it started with an R or something like that.
Yeah, Rowdy.
And look, the funny thing is, people would be like, yo, you lying. I got too many crazy stories. But I remember during the MySpace days, we were produced because we were a hip hop group, but we were marketing as a writing and producing group too.
Yeah.
So we were on MySpace one night and the little green light was on. You know how that joint. So we saw Keke Palmer. Now, granted, I don't know how many years younger she is than us, but we were like, yo, I want to get some records to you, whatever. And she responded like, nah, bum ass nigga. So I was like, what? Because I'm like, yo, this a little girl. Like, why you responding like this? But we ended up coming back. We came down here, and I ain't gonna talk about that. But we came down to meet with Dallas Austin. That didn't happen. We went back to Carolina, and everybody else kind of got like, Oh man, I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm like you. I'm like, all right, well, if it don't happen like that way, it's gonna happen, but just don't know how yet, right?
Yeah.
Stuff started snapping. I was mailing beats in the little yellow mailers.
Got the little melons.
I was mailing them joints to Universal, Dre McKenzie at G Unit, and and I was in college by that time, so it's like 2002, 2003, right around there.
Yeah.
Mailing beats. Wasn't no emailing. There wasn't no emailing.
Not yet. Not yet. No tracks.
Bro, went back and forth. He reached out on MySpace and was like, "Yo, I got one of your beat dids. You send something every week." And that's how I was like, "Yeah." Like, I was going hard, bro. I'm like, "All right, you ain't get it this time. All right, maybe he ain't get it. I'm gonna shoot another one.
Right.
And it picked up. After that, it just the stars aligned and it picked up.
That's a blessing,
bro. It is, but the tenacity to keep going, right?
That's it.
What's your take on? I got two different ones. Two-part question. What's your take on people that has the tenacity to keep going and go hard, but don't have the talent to do what they're going hard to do? And then what about the flip side? Like the person that got all the talent but no hustle.
I think both of them you need. All right, so I'm gonna tell you, for any guy, the only way for guys to even make it in the world, only three ways for guys to make it. One, you gotta be either a personality where you're like laser focused. So, and that's that tenacity, right? Mm-hmm. That laser focus that I'm getting this goal. You know what I mean? That's a Ye. That's a Kanye going up to rock every day. That's a Jeff Bezos. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some people see one thing so much that they gonna make the world believe it because they do it so long.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people with that tenacity, a lot of people, even if they don't got a talent, they can beat out the talent if they're consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you work on a beat every day for 7 years, you're going to know everything about this board. You're going to know about every sound. And all you got to do, one day, the right situation will align with. And even if you put a doop, doop, doop on the beat, guess what? Yeah, listen, producer. You're a producer. You know what I mean? So really that consistency, you know what I mean? That A personality person. The second way, you know what I mean, I always say is a good group of friends. Okay. You know what I mean? Just for instance, say you was producing with Justice League, you was producing with Ye, you was producing with 808 Mafia, all these boys, right? Mm-hmm. Every day, right? From 10 to 17, right? No matter if you the worst one of those, you're going to be better than most of everybody else in the world because the people you was around was at such a high level. Mm-hmm. You're going to be better than everybody else. So if you're around a high level group of friends, you can definitely elevate yourself to the next level. Mm-hmm. And the third way is just a really, really great woman. You know what I mean? Like a really great woman will basically take you and position you to where you're supposed to be. Because when somebody love you as much as your mama love you, but they looking at you a little closer, they gonna say, yeah, I know you doing beats, but the way you talk to people when you go in these rooms, I think you start a podcast. Listen to you and people will like it. And then your podcast take off and it changed the world. And you like, damn, I would never even been on it if I didn't meet her. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Facts. Like it's just the different ways. And then like the people who got that's really talented but don't have that tenacity, they can't make it if they don't have one of those three things. Okay. If they're not an A personality, they got the drive, they just gonna be talented. Like if they ain't with a good group of guys that's gonna push them, because guys compete. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you might be, at the end of the day, when you were young and they were getting numbers, like I gotta get some numbers too. Like it's a mental competition. You know what I mean? Or if you ain't got no girl to be like, well, you don't get off your ass and go out here and do this. Like You ain't got that. That nigga dead in the water. I don't care how talented he is. He gonna be a good talented nigga that everybody know. He was a good talented nigga.
Yeah.
He just didn't do that. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time. Happen all the time.
I think that's funny even in that. Like I hearing you talk makes me, it reminds me of certain time periods. And I'm like, yo, it's crazy because for me in Carolina, I was one of the only ones, right?
Mm.
For you were in Georgia, so you had at least
A lot.
You
I had a lot.
Yeah, you had a lot of people.
I grew up with Lloyd, Lil
Oh yeah, he from the
Spivey.
East Side. That's right.
Yeah, I grew up with these. Like we just all the same age, and we all like me and Lloyd played on the same football team. Me and Lil Spivey ran track together. Like I grew up around with niggas who was really like me and Blackjack, even Raw Raw. Like all the niggas were talented, like talented music individuals. You know what I mean? Not even talking about the ones who like played sports. You know what I mean? Like one of my closest friends who ran track, he was the first person that beat Usain Bolt.
Wow.
Like on the documentary. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of talent. You know what I mean? I grew up around a lot of talented people, individuals. So I like, even though I was one of the ones. I wasn't one like you. Yeah. I was one of the ones that got to stand next to a lot of kids that were gonna be giants one day.
That's dope. That's dope. Listen, I will always say that Georgia has made and produced so many people that are CEO level execs on the music business and entertainment in general, that I think y'all did a good job of pooling together, right? And make something happen. Back home, like, bruh, I can count on one hand how many times because everybody want to be the big dog back home, right? For me, I'm like you. I ain't never cared to be the big dog. And
I just want my part. You know what I mean?
Just want my part.
Dog you want. I'm just a dog fight. You know what I mean? I want my little part.
Exactly. But bro, I remember when the Grammy conversation came up. And at that point I did a deal with EMI.
Right.
And bro, you keep in mind, I'm still in Kernersville, North Carolina, going back and forth to New York, Atlanta, LA, New York, back and forth, making a V. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the conversation came up, and I was like, "Yo, that's dope," but right now I need to get another placement because I need this bread. Right? Bro, that's what lets you know it's a small city too. Down here, so many people got nominated for Grammys and stuff. It's just like, okay, oh yo, congrats, dope. Back home, it's like, yo, we gonna call the news channel. You got to do some radio interviews, and I was just like, I'm not that type of dude. You know, at least I wasn't that type of dude. I'm closer to it now. Yeah, I was just like, I don't like talking. I don't like crowds. I want to be in the studio, producing the record, and maybe go enjoy it, you know, drink a little bit, do whatever I do. But I don't want to be on nobody panel. Like, bruh, it was different. That was a shock for me. But then this is the next point. When I went from just producing and you got the placement to now you got the Grammy stuff going on, and I had YG coming to North Carolina to my grandmama house. Like the studio, a little box, no air conditioning, like a little shed. YG, DJ Mustard, Farnsworth Bentley, Rhapsody, everybody was just coming to the house, right? Because it was like I'm one of the.
I love Rhapsody,
bro. Me too, but I'm like I'm one of the only ones. So it's like, okay, me, a Ninth Wonder, or Ski Beats, and I think Ski moved back to New York by that time. So it's just like, I personally didn't like that. I like being in Atlanta or New York where the competition is like, oh, you made that. Oh, what them 808 sound like? Oh, I need to do this. Like, I like that back and forth. Back home, they looking like, oh, what you got? And just waiting. Everybody looking like,
yeah. Yeah, because they in that mentality of like, you know, it happens anywhere you go, right? Because I don't know it's happening, right? My friends, they'll see and they be like, such and such want to talk to you, and I be like, this nigga, I've been having the same numbers in high school, bro. Just call me. I'm talking about niggas. I was like, you spend night on my house, but you scared to call me because you see me as something different. I'm the same person. You know what I mean? And I think coming from that small town that you was in, people start probably like, and like, I can't compete with him. I just want to, build. I just want to see what he do and like be a part. But that's the thing I'm telling you about though, like your circle. Like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
nobody in that place that was able to be a part of your circle because now you're elevating and there's nobody you can feed off of anymore. So
Right.
everybody in there, even the artists,
Mm-hmm.
everybody you poured into, you was pouring into. Nobody was pouring
Pouring
back
back into
into you.
me. Yeah.
And so that made you uncomfortable because it's like, yeah, if I keep pouring to everybody, I'm gonna have an empty cup.
Yo,
I
and the,
go to a city where they ain't gonna like give me, oh, okay, they using these kind of 808s and okay, they using these kind of bells, they using this, and they start pointing to you. So your creative mind go even higher and you
mm-hmm.
elevate higher because of that circle. And I get back to the circle, that circumference
Yeah.
of people that you're around, you're gonna be the result. You're gonna be the direct answer for that result of that.
Yeah, I think that's dope. That's dope. I want to keep talking about that, but I want to move on. I got to move on. So, the owners district.
Mm-hmm.
All right, tell me about how you came up with the name first off,
Mm-hmm.
and then how did you start to develop it as a company?
All right, so really, man, it's so crazy because I was I was in a space where I wasn't fully doing music anymore, right? I wasn't in that space. I had got out of it like I got out of it probably right after Trinidad James. Like I did like a lot of the Trinidad James Gold Game stuff,
Okay.
you know, doing them videos and Rah Rah and Bang Roll Fresh,
Okay.
right? And so at the time after that, that whole little era of that, I kind of like got out of the music and went to the sports side of things. And I went to I had got a job, marketing job for the Atlanta Falcons.
Ah, okay.
I went over there and was doing marketing, and that was like kind of my first corporate job. You
Okay.
know what I mean? I had went and worked at Comcast first and was doing sales at Comcast.
Okay.
And I got really, really good at the sales. And I don't like to talk. So for me, sales though is like me, I'm just a high level communicator. And so that was like my first time. I started really, I knew so much about marketing from the label. So I ended up going into the marketing for the Atlanta Falcons. And then I ended up starting a nonprofit. So I
Ah.
started On Track Georgia. And with On Track Georgia, I got a track and field program after school, summer camps and stuff. And so it had got so big that I had to stop. I had to give up my job at the Falcons and I had to do it full time.
Mm.
So I was doing that full time and just so um my partners who ended up being my partners end up asking me to move to New York. I was in New York visiting. They asked me to move to New York to help them build this publishing company. Like it
Okay.
was all one like recording studio, publishing company, record label. It was like all in one.
Okay.
And they needed help like building it out, hiring people, getting interns in, scheduling, like everything. So I'm like, all right, cool. Came up here. I thought I was gonna be up here for like 6 months in New York and end up like shit blew up. You know what I mean? Like it was popping. And at the end of that, a little bit before the company had downsized or closed, I had met Dave East recorded our studio.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Dave recorded all the time, and Dave one day brought in Omari Hardwick, who played Ghost on Power.
Mm-hmm.
So we met because me and Dave was cool, and then Omari came back one night by himself, and so that night we actually sat down and talked. And he was like, "Where you from?" I'm like, "From the same place you from. I'm from the East Side." You know, he from the East Side. He was like, "What?" So we just had a lot of comment, and then he just always came back to the studio. And then one day,
Was he
like
recording? Like, what was
he
he
was
doing in the studio?
doing spoken word. He do
Okay.
poetry.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You know, he used to like host like the poetry jams on BET and
I
stuff like
remember
that.
that.
Yeah, so he was doing poetry and spoken word and like just finding his way in rhythm. And so he basically like one day, like months later, he was like, "Man, I want you on my management team." He was like, "You gonna manage me?" I was like, "What?" And I like, "What the hell?" Like, you Ghost, like I'm managing Ghost, like nigga, Power the biggest show on TV. You know what I
That's what I was
mean?
about
So
to ask if he had power by then.
yeah, he was already on Power. He was already popping. I'm
Okay.
like, oh, like, what you mean? And so he's like, yeah, you just be a part of the team though. You know what I mean? It was like a team of people.
Okay.
And so I got to kind of learn for a little bit. And then the team, he fired everybody. He fired everybody but me. And so now what I'm thinking I'm learning is like,
You the
nigga,
go-to. It's you.
I'm the go-to. I'm like, Lord. And so now he taking meetings trying to find, other people to bring on and stuff. And then so I'm working with him. And then the publishing company ended up downsizing and closing. Like probably like 2 months after that. So when I got the news, I was like, man, what's my next step? Because now I done uprooted myself from Atlanta. I'm managing Omari. Now, do I go back to Atlanta and get this all up? Or do I figure it out? You know what I mean? So I was just thinking, brainstorming, like, what I'm gonna do? And one day I was like, look, I was talking to him and he was like, just start a management company. And he was like, I'm your first client, like just start the company. And so I ended up starting and I was trying to think of a name, something that resonated with me, and ownership, you know what I mean, was like very big, you know what I mean? Because I seen like how the company I was working for, like they was very big in ownership and things like that and owning their shit. And I was like, I want to do something surrounding that ownership and thinking like something I really cool. So I was just kind of researching, and then I came up with Owners District. And like in New York, like a slang is like they be like, man, that's OD. Like when you doing something like crazy or something, they be like, man, that's OD, bro. Like, why you doing it, bro? You know what I mean? Like, okay. you see what I'm saying? So I was like, when I was looking at the initials, I'm like, dang, that's kind of like a cool slang with the thing. And it was around, so I started that, and it took off too fast for me. And I was like, as soon as I started, I had like Dave East then wanted me to manage the tour. One of his artists, D Jones, asked me to manage him, and then this other kid, Ben, ended up signing him. He got a deal with Koch. I mean, not Koch. Polo Grounds.
Okay.
Brian leashed them, and so it was just going. You know what I mean? And like it was up and down and up. You know what I mean? I was just figuring it out. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out New York for the first time by myself. Trying to figure out how to keep these clients together. And then, I had learned a lot about just managing companies and businesses over this time doing corporate and, running this company. So it was just like, I just took the same concepts from managing a big company and putting it into the artists. I had artists already. I just didn't never want to take the credit for it. You know what I mean? But I was already managing them. So I'm like, it's the same thing. I'm just taking the corporate structure and putting it in the clients now. And that. And so that's how I ended up doing it. And I just been building it ever since. And it's going on I think I started it in 2018.
Okay.
So it's like 4 years.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank,
That's dope.
thank you.
How was the transition from South to New York? Because for me, it was like a little bit of a culture shock.
Oh,
And
definitely.
it took probably about a month or so for me to like figure out how it worked.
Now, I think I was still figuring out. I think I still figure out how it work now. Like it's it's different, especially in New York. You know what I mean? Like people like New Yorkers are just
Choose your
angry.
words. I'm about to say,
They it's a lot of aggression up here. You know what I mean?
you don't like that?
I do, but it's like not for everything. Like not just ordering a damn. Let me get a chopped cheese. I know I need my chopped cheese. What you doing? Like I'm cool. Like to tell the man what you want, bro. You ain't gotta go. You ain't gotta go A-Rap like that. You know what you want, But and like dating. When I first was dating up there, it was like, bro, I was like, I'm from the South. I was pulling out the chair. Girl said, "What the fuck you touching my chair for?" I was like, "Fuck you, open your door. I got hands. You ain't gotta open my door."
Yeah.
Like, what you trying to do? You're like, I do nothing. Treat you like a lady. Like,
Nah.
That's funny. Yeah, funny. Like, I'm like, oh. Let me get a little more aggressive. Let me, goddamn. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you had to like change the approach.
Yeah.
Change the approach. I was just telling my one of my assistants the other day because he newly single and he be coming up here working, and he was trying to talk to girls. I was like, look, ain't work like that. You can't be like, hey, man, I want to get to know you. You know what I mean? Like, nigga, what? Are you talking so low?
Yeah.
Are you talking so low?
Yo.
Like, what you trying to scare me?
Yo,
you know what I mean?
You ain't trying to miss Lady Joint?
Huh?
You ain't trying to miss Lady Joint?
Miss Lady? No, because I'm be scared. I be scared to even call anybody out their name because no matter where you go, depending on where you at, it's offensive.
Okay.
Like you be like, "What's up, mom? Ain't your motherfucking mama?" You know what I mean? Hey, miss, like, ain't no miss. What wrong with you? Like it's like they take so much. It's so I was like,
aggression,
bro,
yeah.
It's confusing. So it was a transition, and then like just just being on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And like we was paying for parking. When I first came up here, I was paying like 20, maybe $2,100 to $2,300 a month
to park.
For parking. Parking.
Why?
And that's all. That was the only choice.
Golly, boy.
Like when you be in the city, you stay in the city. You don't. If you're not from a place, you're gonna only be where you work at. You only gonna be where you at. So it's like I'm at the studio 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? I'm trying to build a company, so I don't have time to go out nowhere. I'm up here trying to build a company, so I'm trying to bring people to the building, not go out there. So when I went out, it was like for a purpose. Like I'm going to a concert, go backstage, get the artist to come to the studio.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So like for me, being right in Midtown, the heart of all that, I didn't know it was overpriced. I didn't know. I just thought it was the norm. I was paying $10 for chips and $8 for drinks and all this because I'm thinking like it's New York.
I'm like the Queens, man.
But New York, but see nobody I knew because I didn't know anybody on. I only knew niggas who was executives.
Okay.
Right.
And that's what they do. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know anybody who was just a regular New Yorker who can give me the game, like or nothing. So it was like the people I was meeting were like interns working for me. You know what I mean? So they was just working, you know what I mean? They weren't trying to talk to me like that. You know what I mean? And it was just different. So I didn't learn all the stuff till after I got out the company. And when I got the company, like I'm riding the bike now, you know what I mean? Riding the bike. I ain't riding the car. I ride my bike. So I get to start seeing stuff. And I started going to Harlem and like,
yeah, I love Harlem.
Got soul food in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't soul food in Manhattan, like,
No.
in that boy, you know what I mean? I'm eating healthy greens.
Manhattan is Atlantic Station and Peachtree.
Exactly what it is. That's what it is. It's exactly what it is, bro. So I'm like, oh, this is a whole new world. You know what I mean? So yeah, but it's always a transition. You know what I mean? Just learning how to travel, learning to take Ubers everywhere. You know what I mean? Like quicker to get places on the train. It's just smarter.
So were you up there when the yellow cabs was the biggest joints?
Yeah, like the yellow cabs was big, and then it would transition it over to Ubers.
I hated that yellow cab, bro.
They were fighting. Yeah, them yellow cabs, bro. And then they won't even stop sometimes. And then I never knew which one was like. I never knew what the fight meant. I didn't know if it meant it was open or it was. I still don't like. I don't know which mean. You got a ride. You don't have a ride. I just be out there.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, bro. It's different. It's different up there.
I'm definitely crazy.
On the philanthropy side, and we'll probably wrap on that. But on the philanthropy side, how are you developing it and implementing it into the community?
Oh man,
you got your foundation.
Yeah, man. That's like for me, man. I told you I was already a giver. You know what I mean? Up anyway. My mom used to be like, man, you giving out all my little debits. Like you giving out everything to the neighbor. I'm like, they ain't got it. You know what I mean? They ain't got this kind. So I mean, for me, it's like, if I can help out anybody, I'm trying to, man. So I'm always like trying to give back to single parents. You know what I mean? Give back to men. I'm always trying to do like some kind of thing with mentoring other men. You know what I mean? Putting them around in different situations. Because a lot of times men just need to be around men who got something going on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Be something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just trying to better the little part of the world I can. You know what I mean? So that's why I got on Track Georgia to like do that. You know what I mean? Help with the kids. They get on track in school. You know what I mean? After school. Looking for a location now so we can rebuild a charter school.
Okay.
Just build it out, man. But I love philanthropy, man. I love giving to just different projects, different things in need. You know what I mean? I just gave my high school $10,000. Just did that. Just a scholarship at my high school. They put me in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? So
fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Hold
like,
on, man, nah, we gotta cue that up for that because that deserves a clap, bro.
Hey, man, it's crazy because I went up to the school the first time and I seen like the other people that's on the wall, like Future, you know what I mean, on the wall, YC, Racks on Racks, like he on the wall, like Eric Smith who played for the Arizona, like NBA players, just saying like Gail Devers, you know what I mean, like you be like, hey, he nigga somebody, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, wow, dang, he nigga cool there. I'm like, I ain't nobody. Like, hey, I'm just here, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to do my little part.
At what point do you feel like you'll own it?
Man, I think sometimes Omari tell me like, hey, living your life, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, just live in it, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta walk in a room and just own your presence. Right. You know what I mean? Sometimes because when I get in the room, I bring my light in the room anyway. You know what I mean? Like I'm that type of person.
I can tell that.
Because I'm like shy. Really, like what people don't know, I'm shy. So for me, like when I started learning how to like speak on stages and stuff, so the trick I learned was I get there early and then I start talking to people as they come in.
Build a rapport.
So I already got the rapport and I feel like I don't talk to everybody. So when I get on the stage, it don't feel like a bunch of strangers. I mean, so that way it made me feel more comfortable to speak.
Okay.
I think one day, I just have a hard time. I have a hard time receiving gifts.
Me
too. What I mean? I have a hard time receiving gifts. I have a hard time like taking compliments and things like that. I'm not like and like it kind of made me feel kind of crazy. I'm like, oh, like I like you say something, I immediately say something back to get the attention off of me and put it
Yep.
back on you. You know what I'm saying? But I was looking at something one time and someone say, it was something about like it was like be not responsible enough, but be able to. I'm gonna send it to you when I find it. But it was like
Okay.
something able to like live in your power enough to accept the compliment. So they did a thing where somebody had to compliment you, but you can't say nothing back. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta just live with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I want to do something. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you what help learn me something on that
Mm-hmm.
line. Cause when I first met, it's been a few different episodes, but when I first met 50,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'll tell you about two of them. But when I first met 50 in the G Unit office, this after I had got an Eminem placement before I got a 50 Cent placement, and
Right.
I was shopping the G Unit first.
Right.
So I had got Twister, Jim Jones, Eminem, got that first before 50. Walked in the office. The first thing he said was, "What's up, fat boy?" So I'm like, "Yeah," and
Yo.
I laughed it off. But the crazy thing is, first meeting, he already had, I'm gonna say, the next 6 months to a year of my career, of his idea of what my career looks like in his head already.
Mm-hmm.
Already planned out. He was like, "Yeah, I'm working on this show. I'm working on a few TV shows." And at this time, he was just coming off the G Unit high. So it's
Right.
like TV shows. He's like, "I'm working on some TV shows. Just stick with me." And we doing this, and this. I was like, "All right, cool." So it happens a few years later, here goes Power.
Right.
So I'm like, "Oh, that's what that was."
Right.
Unfortunately, I ain't getting none of them joints. But
Yeah.
anyway, that made me understand the power of influence from a musical standpoint, because then that same night we went to the studio, and I think either Universal or somebody sent Jeremiah's "Down on Me" with the 2 track of the track and Jeremiah vocals,
Mm-hmm.
and Fifth was like, "Yeah, I gotta cut these." I think it was like a 12 bar verse or something like that. So it's
Right.
like, I'm gonna do it. That was like the first of the 12 bar. Not everybody do 12 bar. But he was like, "Yeah, I gotta cut this joint." So we in the studio in Queens, and he recording, and comes out the booth, and I'm sitting. I got peanuts because I'm trying to cut weight, because this nigga just called me fat, so I'm trying to cut
Right.
weight, drinking water, and everybody, they just nodding, crotch. I don't want to say dick riding. I guess I already said it, but dick riding, like they don't want to tell them nothing about the joint. So they like, "So what's good? What you think?" So I was like, "Yo, that don't sound like Get Rich or Die Trying Fifth right there." So
Right.
so the room look at me like this. So like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you asked the question and ain't nobody gonna say nothing. And I was like, "I think you owe him like 4 more bars too." So niggas was really heated, like, "All right, bro, you wildin', like you talking way too much." But bro, from that point, I got the respect. I got the respect from him. He was like, "Yo," so when we work on other records, he was like, "Yo, what you think about this? What you think about that?" And the people that brought me in the room was like, "Oh, so you just gonna talk the Fifth like," and it was cool.
Right.
Second one with I was working with Ice Cube, and
Mm-hmm.
he was doing Ride Along down here on the west side.
Yeah.
We had moved by then, and he invited me and wifey to the set.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the set, and we waiting around, whatever. And I hear somebody from the background, "Yo, Nino, what up?" It's Cube. And I'm just like, this is my first meeting. I've never met him. We were just working via email and sending beats back and forth.
Right.
We probably 14 records in, right? He like, "Yo, man, what's up? Come on, you gonna eat over here? We got Crafty. Come sit down. Let's chop it up. Yo, that's Kev. Yo, Kev, come here. Kevin Hart." He kind of shaded us, low key. He shaded us, but that type of, I know who you are before,
Mm-hmm. You
and
walking on.
right, and you a legend. That's the Ice Cube.
Yeah, that's the Ice Cube, the 50 Cent now. Like,
Right. So those two episodes kind of got me in the path of, okay, I can own some of it. Like
we could own some of it.
some of
Like,
it. I still don't.
yeah, yeah. I think one day I'm gonna be there, man. I think I need to have one of the moments like you. You know what I mean? Like, I think one day I'll be there. But I'm glad you had those moments because it helped you see, like, I'm doing good work out here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting, you know what I mean? You actually getting some of them flowers. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because somebody's saying something good about you in rooms you're not in.
Right.
That's how in those rooms. You know what I mean?
And the last one that happened last year. It happened last year because I started a mentoring program too.
Oh,
So
super dope.
so my main thing, even with the podcast, it was about like the initial idea was Nito's Corner. And I did
Mm-hmm.
that on Instagram, and it was kind of like my test market, but I was giving the game on publishing royalties and whatever, and it tanked. It did terrible. Like niggas was not trying to hear no education, whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I took a break. I said, let me revisit it. No, I think wifey actually said back to that woman, having the
Right.
right woman. Wifey was like, maybe you just try like potting or something. Like you could get people to cry at the McDonald's window. Like it was a dude told me
Right.
about his child support while he's serving McDonald's in the
Right.
window. And I'm like, bro, you gonna be good. Don't even worry about it, bro. Just handle your business. That's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last year, I started the mentoring program, and I teach the artists how to do real estate, how to do any kind of secondary income, drop shipping, whatever, right? And the pod is a means for showing that.
Right.
But if you want to do one-on-one, I do the one-on-ones and all that stuff too. So one of my one-on-ones didn't charge. This is my test market. And it kind of stung a little bit, but it felt good at the same time. I taught one of my guys, I was like, okay, all you got to do is get your credit decent enough. Put a little bit of bread up. We can get you a hard money lender. I got this lender to do this, and he can get you this type of funding. Go to this real estate agent. They're going to get you all connected, and we're going to make it happen. I'm a contractor too.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm a contractor too. So I got that. So
you in Atlanta, right?
Huh?
You in Atlanta?
I'm on the east side.
I might need you to help.
All right, just holler at me. But we going back and forth, and after his first joint, it took 3 months. There's somebody that was broke, right? He making, I'm gonna say he probably making about 30, whatever.
Yeah.
Come back, yo, man, I made 96,000. I just listened. I was just like, that was your take on? He's like, bro, it's crazy. What you said worked. It worked, bro. So I'm like, yeah. Little wifey was like, you ain't getting no referral fee. I was like, no. But it felt good to know that I could get them to see you don't have to do the 30. You keep the 30 for stability, mental stability, whatever you want to call it. But you got other options.
Mm-hmm.
You got mad options. And to see that man get that 96,000 in one bang, 3 months, I was like, all right, now how that feel? Versus you work your whole year to make that 30. He's like, bro, whatever you got to say, I'm listening. I'm like, bro, it's going to charge. I'm charging this time.
I'm charging this time. I need send. I need in, Jack.
Yeah.
But that's what they say. They say you don't get what you deserve. You never get what you deserve. You only get what you negotiate.
Yeah, that's true.
You only get what you negotiate. You can be the best person in the world, doing the most stuff for everybody, but that don't mean you're gonna get a damn dime from nobody. You know what I mean? You gotta negotiate properly. If not, you up shit's creek.
All right. So last thing, make sure let's give the people some takeaways. One jewel. You ain't got to give them a whole elaborate speech, and then tell them how they can reach you, so we can put everything at the bottom of the screen and all that stuff.
If I can tell anybody anything, I would say take 2 hours in a day for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you got a family, you got kids, you got whatever. Like, pay yourself in 2 hours. Like, wake up 2 hours before you got to wake your kid up. Wake up 2 hours before your wife wake up, and take 2 hours for you before the world is taken away from you. You know what I mean? Because you got to got to give to your kids, you got to give to your job, you got to give to your career. You know what I mean? All that's taking a little bit from you every day. So wake up 2 hours, pour into yourself, no matter if it's yoga, working out. If you want to listen to a sermon, you want to listen to your favorite podcast, you know what I mean? Whatever you want to do, you know, take 2 hours out for yourself to plan the day. That way your energy is here, you're elevated high, and you're able to give, you're able to pour without feeling like so low. Because if you wake up and you just rushing, you never got your energy up. So now when you get up your first argument, you below. Now you finna blow on everybody for the rest of the day. You like, wow, say something. Say, you know what I mean? When, if you would have took them 2 hours out to really gather yourself, get yourself, the first thing went wrong, you'd be like, you know what? Shit went wrong. You know, I'm gonna look at it this way instead of that way. You know what I mean? So do that and it'll change your life.
That's good. That's good. Now, how can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me through my IG, Lewis, TWOLEWIS _ they can also inquire about anything at www.twolewis.com, or if it's some management stuff, you can go to Owners District, OWNERS District.com, and inquire about anything management.
Man, that's beautiful, 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 bro. Beautiful. Yo. Lewis right here in the building. Make sure y'all follow everything that he's doing. Is fire. Like anything that I present, y'all already know. You know the vibes. So make sure you follow him. And till next week, peace.